Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 27 Beta 2. iOS 27 Beta 2 is available around the world at the same time for all developers on all iOS 27 supported devices, which is thankfully again this year the same as iOS 26. Apple supports everything from the iPhone 11 all the way up to the iPhone 17 Pro Max. However, if you're looking for the public beta, iOS 27 public beta should be out in July. Now this came in at 10.58 gigabytes on the iPhone 17 Pro Max and was released alongside many other updates, such as iPadOS 27 Beta 2, a macOS 27 Golden Gate Beta 2, tvOS and HomePodOS 27 Beta 2, visionOS 27 Beta 2, but there's no watchOS 27 Beta 2 just yet. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the build number and then take a look at what's new. We'll go into settings, then general and software update, wait for it to load, go to more details, and then tap on the version number. And as you can see, the build number is 24A5370H, and this update has quite a few updates and changes, feature changes, and more, but the first thing is a new modem update coming from Beta 1 to Beta 2. Hopefully this improves overall connectivity, but we'll have to wait and see what it's like. When it comes to new features, there's quite a few, and of course I've linked everything in the description below with different chapters if you want to jump around, because the first set of features has to do with Siri AI. It's much faster in Beta 2, so I just wanted to demonstrate that. I have Beta 1 here, Beta 2 on the right. Let's ask the same question. What's the weather today?
Thunderstorms are expected today.
How about for the rest of this week?
Thunderstorms are expected this week, with temperatures reaching as high as 93 degrees on Saturday.
And you'll see it's a little bit faster, it's a little better, it actually looks a little better as well. Also within Siri settings, there's a new menu. So if we go back into our settings, scroll down to Siri, within Siri, if we continue to scroll down, you'll see a new option for visual intelligence. We have an option here to highlight to image search. It says when highlighting subjects to find similar images, it automatically sends the image to third parties to provide results. So if you don't want to select the third parties by tapping every time, this will just do it automatically. If we go into notes, for Siri, there's now writing tools again. So if we press and hold here, maybe select, we'll select everything. And you'll see here down at the bottom, we now have an option to proofread or rewrite. If we tap on a separate line here, we'll go down, you'll see we have suggestions. And if we go into maybe a new message, you'll see that it has a new option that says write with Siri. So you can write with Siri and it opens up Siri, just making it a little bit easier to sort of write with Siri and create a message. If we go back into our Siri settings, and if you have an iPhone 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, or iPhone Air with 12 gigs of RAM, and you go into voice, you'll have options to customize your Siri voice. However, it says coming soon. Before it didn't say coming soon, so hopefully with Beta 3 we'll be able to customize this. Also, if we go into another place, we'll go into accessibility this time. There's some more Siri options that work now. So we'll scroll down to where we'll get with Siri here. Let's find it. There we are. Within Siri, you'll see that we have spoken responses and then always listen for Siri. This can be turned on and it works properly now. Before it wanted you to set up speaking to Siri, but it wouldn't work properly. Now it actually works. On our home screen, if we haptic press or long press on any app, whether it's podcasts or any other, there's a new option for Ask Siri. So again, if we go into maybe camera, you'll see Ask Siri, tap on it, and then we can ask about what's in the app. Also within the Watch app, if we scroll down, you'll see that they've updated the Siri icon with the new one, and there's also Siri options. However, we don't have watchOS 27 Beta 2 just yet, but maybe we'll have Siri in it, as we didn't have it with Beta 1, at least the new version of Siri. Also, if we go into Safari, then we go into our options here, there's an option to Ask Siri. So Ask Siri is all throughout the OS here. Now, if we're playing media and we go to our lock screen, you can swipe it off the display. We could do this before, of course, and just clear it. So that's on the lock screen, and it won't restart this time until maybe we go to start another song. If we go into here, you'll see it's not there. We have to close out of the app or start media from someplace else, such as podcasts. So again, if I go back into the lock screen, you'll see it's back again. So that's something, if you want to clear it, you can, but it's only temporary. Within the camera, there's a slight change here. You'll see we have a new macro icon, so it's now got a ring around it once it's active. If you turn it off, it goes back to normal, but it just sort of makes it stand out a little more. If we swipe over here, and this time we go over to Compass, Compass has been updated with a different icon, but I don't know if this is a mistake or not. If we compare it to what we have before, so again, on the left is beta 1, on the right is beta 2, it's almost like it's zoomed in slightly and cutting it off. So I'm not sure if this is on purpose or if it's a mistake, but either way, it just could be an updated icon. Now with beta 1, Apple removed RCS end-to-end encryption, but it's back in beta 2. So if we go into our message settings, scroll down here, you'll see RCS messaging, and again we have end-to-end encryption, but again it's still in beta. So just keep in mind, if you're testing it out, it may not be available everywhere just yet. And if you are using text messages with RCS and we go into messages, within messages you can now use inline replies with RCS. So you'll see here we have the option to reply directly in line or have all the options we had before if you're using iMessage. Now, if we go into Apple Pay, maybe we're paying online, it actually looks a little bit different. So again, with beta 1 on the left, beta 2 on the right, it looks a little bit different and gives a little bit more information as far as the total here. So again, slight changes throughout, and this could change again before it's released to the public. If we go into the Wallet app, in our options in the upper right, there's a new option for Insights. Insights says see spending insights and more, connect accounts to Wallet to see spending insights, recurring transactions, account balances, and more. So if you have cards that will allow you to connect it, you'll get more information and insights from each one of those cards, giving you additional information. Also, speaking of that, if we go to create a pass, there's some new options here. So if we create a pass manually, maybe for a membership, for example, and then we go to change the background, there's some new options here. So background color, you'll see we have some new options for texture. So with beta 1 on the left, beta 2 on the right, before we just had colors, now we have texture options as well. So maybe this will continue to be upgraded in the future. The first time you go into the Home app, you'll be greeted with a new splash screen. I took a screenshot of it here where it says Apple Intelligence in Home, thermostat and smart plug usage, as well as flexible accessory setup, telling you about what's new in iOS 27. But also discovered in beta 2 is if we go into the Home app, some people within the Home app are seeing the option to update their Apple TV. I don't have an Apple TV currently running tvOS 27, so maybe that's why I'm not seeing it, but some people are seeing that option to update your Apple TV directly in here, so that just makes it a little bit more convenient. When you're in the Phone app, if maybe you place a phone call, while you're on the phone call, you'll get an indicator letting you know that the microphone is in use, and this is actually persistent even if you're on the lock screen. So that's something that we're seeing that's new. Now, for those of you that were concerned about it indexing is normal, but without a status, sometimes it can take a long time. And this time around, it seems like they've removed the word indexing and now changed it to optimizing Siri and search, but it seems to complete much faster for some. So I haven't seen it just yet. Many people are seeing it, but if you are seeing it, hopefully they'll give us status updates in the future with how long it will take to complete, as it can take over a week depending on how much storage you have. Now, when it comes to bugs and bug fixes, they've actually fixed quite a few things here. The first thing is they've fixed cropping screenshots. So if you go into a screenshot, maybe we'll crop it up to here. We'll then go ahead and save it to Photos. Let's go into Photos. And you can see the one I just cropped here, so it's working properly now. Also, iPhone mirroring now works properly. I tried it out on my Mac, seems to work just fine now. And also, the Siri prompt for setup Talk to Siri is now gone. So that's something I had in here that it was just prompting me all the time. It doesn't seem to be persistent across all iPhones, but you'll see here on this one, it basically had an indicator just saying set up Siri. And it was set up, but now it's working properly. Once beta 2 installed, I tapped on it, it went through the setup, and we were fixed. Also, it seems like Wi-Fi is fixed. However, not everyone is seeing this, but so far, Wi-Fi has not dropped off of the connection. With beta 1, it was dropping all the time. I would lock my phone, unlock my phone, swipe up, and I would be on cellular. It seems like it's fixed this time around. Also, the grid view throughout iOS 27 seems to be resolved. For example, if we go into the Siri app, and it says Siri update in progress, so we'll give it just a moment here. So it says adding support for Siri hasn't completed. Let's go back in and see if we have a message for that. We'll go into Siri and turn on Siri and try the new Siri. So it was on before. Why it wasn't before, there we go. Now it's turned on. Now if we go back into the Siri app, it should work properly. There we go. And the grid view is now completed properly. So it looks much better, and you can scroll it and everything else like you would expect. Now, as far as other bugs, well, there's definitely still bugs in this update, but it feels much better so far. But on Apple's public-facing release notes, if we go into this, I've gone through all of this, and it looks like there's 15 categories of resolved issues. That's more than we had with Beta 1's notes, and 56 categories of known issues. So there's still quite a few things that are known. For example, known issue in the camera app, portrait mode blur effect might render incorrectly for photos. There's still quite a few things they need to resolve, but this is an early beta and much better than we've seen in the past so far. As far as other bugs, of course, I have to mention the wallpaper bug, as people are saying it's not fixed. So look right here where the orange is, swipe home, and it desaturates, and it never resaturates. So it seems more pronounced in beta 2. It's not a huge deal, but definitely something I noticed, and I know many of you will notice as well. As far as other bugs, the keyboard bug seems like it's resolved. So if we go back into notes here, it brings up the keyboard every single time. Some people do say it's a little bit slow though, as you may have seen before. So this is notes on iOS 27. It seems okay so far. And as far as dictation, it seems like it's a little bit faster. One thing I wanted to mention is if you're using Siri AI beta and you have an iPhone 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, or iPhone Air, you can also use the more advanced models. If we scroll down here, this time we have to go back into our keyboard. Go into General, scroll down to where we have Keyboard, scroll down again, and you'll see Enable Dictation and then Advanced Dictation Preview. Again, that's 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, and iPhone Air. It's an early preview with even more accurate dictation and automatic punctuation powered by a new on-device model. This was pretty slow before, but if you have one of the newer models, you can try it out. But if we go back, let's try it out quickly, see if it's any faster. It seemed like it was earlier. This is iOS 27 Beta 2 on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And so I don't really want the dash there, but it actually is working faster than it was before. Prior to this, I had to turn off the microphone for it to complete. So it still needs some work, but it seems a little bit faster, but it will heat up your phone quite a bit. As far as releases, well, I expected Beta 2 today, so I would expect probably Beta 3 in a couple weeks. However, next week, because we're getting close to July, we could see iOS 27 Beta 2 re-release. That's typically what we see every year. Then a public beta probably in July at this point. Then Beta 3 maybe on the 6th of July. So at this point, we don't have specific dates, but that seems likely. Also this week, we could see iOS 26.5.2, and we could also see iOS 26.6 Beta 3. So Apple's working on all of those simultaneously, and we'll have those throughout the summer. Of course, iOS 27 will release to the public typically in September around the iPhone 18 launch. So we'll have betas going throughout the summer and of course the public release in September if Apple continues to do the same thing they typically do. Now, as far as if you should install iOS 27 Beta 2, if you're on iOS 27 Beta 1, absolutely install the update and then provide feedback if you're having additional issues. Make sure you're using the feedback app here, providing issues if they're not already listed in Apple's release notes. As far as if you're on iOS 26.5.1, 26.5, or 26.6 betas and want to try it out, you can, but just be aware that it is quite buggy from time to time, may require restarts, and some people have had their phones sort of bricked and need a restore at this point. It seems like it's okay, but I would probably wait for the public beta if you're concerned with any of those things. When it comes to performance, it's pretty smooth overall. I noticed it right away where it seems to never hiccup, at least scrolling from side to side from different pages. ProMotion is smooth and fast. Going back home like this is super smooth, where on iOS 26 it never was. And it just seems like apps are loading nice and fast. Things are smooth going in and out. No real issues so far. Now it could degrade over time as maybe RAM gets stuck or something like that, but it seems like it's much better. When it comes to overall heat, it's definitely getting a little bit warm, but we'll have to check this on the weekend follow-up video with the thermal camera after it's done indexing or doing whatever it is in the background, as that can take some time and of course use a lot of power and heat the device up. But it's not super hot. The iPad is nice and cool. It's typically what you would expect after installing an update at this point. When it comes to battery life, well, on the regular Beta 1 update, I didn't have great battery life. So if we go into battery health, you'll see I'm at 100% capacity with 115 cycles. And if we take a look at battery usage, we'll go back to yesterday. I only had 2 hours and 32 minutes of screen active time, 1 hour and 21 minutes of screen idle time, and I used 66% of the battery. Today, so far, I've had 3 hours and 43 minutes of screen active time and used 72% of the battery. Hopefully this gets better with Beta 2 for me. It seemed to get better after it was done indexing, but again, it's not really that great. I'm getting about 5 hours of screen on time throughout the day, maybe 6 if I'm lucky. When it comes to overall storage, I took a screenshot on this device before I actually updated it, and then I airdropped it to the iPhone Air so we could have an exact comparison. So if we go into our settings and then iPhone storage, again, we'll go into the screenshot here, and we're using a little bit less storage, 32.21 gigabytes compared to 32.59. If we take a look at what's using that storage, Apple Intelligence is 16.1 compared to 16.37 and 16.11 for overall storage compared to 16.22. So it's improved a little bit. Maybe they're refining the code, and system data is typically hanging around 16 to 20 gigabytes. Completely normal, but I did see someone online with 500 gigabytes of storage there. So that would definitely be a bug. When it comes to overall benchmarks, let's go ahead and take a look. I actually ran it once, but again, this is going to be probably a little inaccurate as there's a lot going on in the background, and we'll talk about it in the weekend follow-up video. So far, only 3,164 for single core, 9,563 for multi-core. Typically, it will go back over 10,000 once we run it, maybe in a few days when things are done processing. So that's everything with iOS 27 Beta 2 so far. Of course, if we find more features, I'll talk about them in a separate video, and let me know how it's going for you in the comments below and which version you're using and which device. Of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.